Serving Tampa Bay since 1954, the Heritage Station, WTMP, Egypt Lake, Tampa, Clearwater, 97.5 in Pinellas.
It's on Thursday, usually. And then if it get pushed back to Friday, I have it on Friday. Now, the show you just heard, I know the conversation gonna use some of the same words. We did not collude. We did not get together and before
no collaboration
beforehand talk about what we're gonna say and what we're gonna do. Is any appearances or similarities is a coincidence. It ain't like me and Sean Shaw got together to do this. Because my primary topic today is gonna be the Voting Rights Act, and I'm gonna come at it from a completely different angle than they did, because again, the nature of my show is considerably different from the nature of all the other shows you hear on TMP on Saturday mornings. That's why it's Saturday afternoon. So we're gonna get on with it. It's a call-in show.
Facebook Live right now, like and share.
Facebook Live is out there for us today, and if you want to call in during the show, the call-in number here at WTMP is 813-251-9867, 813-251-9867. If you want to call me after the show or sometime during the week to discuss or argue or make a point, my cell phone number, Eddie Adams Jr. cell phone number is 813-12. Speaking of that, before we move on, and I got to make a correction from last week. I got a caller who called me at 2:03. That's 3 minutes after the show was over last week. To tell me, he called me from California. So we got listeners who are listening to this radio show live. I don't know if he's doing it on his computer or doing it Facebook or he's receiving the show live, because he called me, and I know you guys will do this, and I tell you to do it, and I encourage you to do it. That's why I know that for most of the items and conversations we have, we're at least 98% right most of the time.
That's right.
That little 2%, allows for mistakes like we made last week. I did say that I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers were not in the playoffs last week. And he, from California, left me a text message telling me that the Pittsburgh Steelers was in the playoffs last week. So folks, that's the kind of host I am. I tell you most of the time we are correct. I don't say 100%. So and the last week I would have said 99%. So this week I am saying 98% correct with all the information we give to you. And again, we're not too big to say we made a mistake. And matter of fact, we're coming on the air telling you that we did make a mistake last week. So
right off the bat, boom.
We've been doing this for 13 years.
Number one radio show again.
And we don't want to make, we just want folks to know and understand that the nature of what we did, and that you don't have to, what we tell you, we're not saying it and telling you got to believe us. I want you to follow it up, do your own research, and if something I say is incorrect, correct me. And we've had that understanding for the entire 13 years we've been doing this show. It is your show. I'm just the host. And unlike a lot of other shows that are guest driven, we're not guest driven. Me and Gabriel and Tim, when he's here,
we got our own stuff.
We do it all here in studio, and all that information and all that knowledge. It comes from us providing information to you. And what we want to do, our ultimate intention, is to give you enough knowledge to make some decisions to change this community we all live in. So if you want to email me, Eddie, EDDIE, at porchtalkradio.com. Okay, as I said, we're going to talk about the Voting Rights Act. And a lot of black folks, maybe a lot of white folks too, actually don't know what the Voting Rights Act is.
Mm-hmm.
So let me kind of tell it to you, then we can talk about it, and if you choose to call in because I got something wrong or you want to add something to it, you know, we open like that. That's the nature of Porch Talk Radio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Voting Rights Act is a landmark piece of federal legislation in the United States that prohibits racial discrimination in voting. Now, what the hell did that mean? Now, originally, it was set to expire after 10 years. I heard the other host or someone else say something, but it expires every 10 years. That is false. Congress reauthorized Section 203 in 1982 for 7 years. So that's not 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then they expand and reauthorize it in 1992 for 15 years. And they reauthorized it in 2006 for 25 years. Now I'm going to say this. And it was said, you know, before, but it didn't mean the same thing when it was said in the last hour. When Barack Obama was president of the United States of America, black man, he had the House, he had the Senate.
8 years.
No, the House and the Senate. He only had the House and the Senate his first 2 years.
Yeah.
But he could have done anything he wanted to do.
Guaranteed the first 2 years.
Because he had the House and he had the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
This Voting Rights Act is important to a lot of people. At least that's what they're saying now. But I would think a black president would have at least thought about making it permanent in his first 2 years in office. When he had the House, he had the Senate.
Well, he's actually mulatto, Eddie. Come on now.
Because I'm going to say federal legislation could be applied or changed at any time he got the right number of people in the House and in the Senate, and him being president, to vote, pass it, and he signed it. Done deal. Voting rights for black folks in America is permanent.
Mm-hmm.
You see how that works?
But
I'm going to tell you, I believe Barack Obama thought about it.
Oh, he had to know. I mean, come on.
And I think it was some people behind him in power that pretty much said, we got all these other things we're going to do, not for black folks, you know, because, you know, even he didn't do a whole bunch for black folks. But there's some other thing that we could do to help a whole bunch of other folks, and we'll get to that.
Oh, the transgender and the gay stuff he hit right off the bat.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll kick the Voting Rights Act down the line, and somebody else will take care of that. We'll take care of that a little later. Now, this has been happening
since how long, Eddie?
Since 1965.
So every 10 years it renews.
No, didn't you hear me? I just got through saying they're not renewing it every 10 years. Okay, they renewed it. Okay, they renewed it in 82, 92, 2006. They renewed it for 7 years. They renewed it for 15 years. they renewed it for 25 years.
So, okay, they can make whatever they want to.
But what I'm saying is,
But it still has to be renewed.
It's got to be renewed. It expired. I also looked and saw that, the women couldn't vote at a certain time.
Jack, yeah.
And they went through this whole process, and this is supposed to be connected to the 13th and 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. They went in and made it such that this voting right thing, which only applied to black folks, didn't apply to women, because when they got the right to vote, I guess they got the right to vote for in perpetuity, forever. No special expansions needed, no special gimmicks, no special to do. These are women. They're important people. These are black folks. They're different. We're going to make the black folks voting rights act temporary. I'm telling you, it was originally done temporarily. That's why they keep having to expand it. That's why, if they could make it 25 years, they could have made it 100.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, we got to expand it. We're going to go 25 years. And why don't we just do it 100 years, expand it for 100 years. They ain't got to worry about it for 3 generations. And a lot of them will maybe even forget that we got to do it like this. But for some reason or another, we, black folks, that process was different for black folks than it was for women. And I'm not saying white women, it was for all women. Matter of fact, when the American suffrage process was going on, women was complaining about not being made to vote. When we got it here, women all over the world fighting through the suffrage process got the right to vote. Even in countries where nobody voted. They got communist countries and other countries, but they got it set up so if they ever get the right to vote, women will kick in the same as the men because they've already fought the battle. So what I'm saying, folks, they thought that they would have a problem in the South. The bill was signed by Lyndon Baines Johnson during the height of the Civil Rights Movement, and it was signed on August the 6th, 1965, and Congress later amended the act 5 times to expand its protection. Designed to enforce the voting rights guarantee by the 14th and 15th Amendment of the United States Constitution. The act sought to secure the right to vote for racial minorities throughout this country, especially in the South. Now, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, the act is considered to be the most effective piece of federal civil rights legislation ever enacted in this country. It is also one of the most far-reaching pieces of civil rights legislation in the history of the United States. So I'm saying to you, people, why in the hell did we have to go through this process? Because voting is voting. And the women, I'm not tossing this up, I'm just trying to show you how things happen. Women got to vote in perpetuity one time. Now, they may have let them have and took it back and forth a couple of times, but once you get an amendment to the U.S. Constitution and the legislature do what they do, it's the same as any other right, bill, legislation ever passed in this country. It should have got the same rights, should have got the same security, should have got all the things that Americans expect from its government. And the fact that it got kicked down the road and it keeps happening and we keep having to defend it and they keep adding pieces to it and taking pieces from it and stuff, you know, it's another piece of black legislation. You see what I'm saying? Because they do this like they do everything else, they do it black. It's different and it's special.
Eddie, I believe, from what you just called off already and repeated back on one of the parts there, it seems obvious that as long as the politicians have a carrot to hang out in front of a group of people, that group of people will stay loyal to them if one party or the other, because both parties have had a chance to fix this technically. But it seems to be the constant carrot. As long as we keep this group loyal to us, this might be a great way politically to do that. And here we are since 1965, still playing with that carrot back and forth. And I think it's just simple politics, Eddie, because that's the best way these politicians could think. And again, both sides, to control this particular voting block. And it's been effective, Eddie. Why would they want to change it?
Well, let me jump in right here and debunk all of that back and forth stuff. It ain't been back and forth. It's just been the Democrats. See, the Democrats get black vote at an 80-90% click each election. I mean, that's loyalty that you would only give to your family. So blacks act like the Democrat Party, you know, family or your master.
Oh,
see, it might be going back. It might be going back that far, you know, because it's no fear. Because this is America, the greatest nation on the planet, and our rules and regulations and our laws are respected worldwide. So why is it that we say to the whole world, everybody in this country where we gave rights and privileges to vote, they got the rights and privileges to vote, except for black folks. Black folks, it's a temporary. We're going to let y'all vote now. We may change our mind later. Even though they saying, well, we did this to protect and secure you. Well, you're supposed to have protected and secured every damn body in this country who got the right to vote. They got the right to vote. They shouldn't have got a special right to vote that may be terminated, you know, in 5 years. If we don't like how you're voting.
Exactly. You're right. Right on. In
5 years, we're going to do this all again. And guess what? We're going to take it away. I don't know if that's what black folks are surprised or scared of.
Well, Eddie, I think right now with the replacement of all the black votes by the Hispanic votes being brought in and by the millions across our borders right now, Eddie, I think that could be very possible because those Hispanics coming over the border, we know we got a lot of hardworking people, just like we have a lot of hardworking people of all colors in our nation, and that's awesome. But we know that there's a high percentage of low-skilled Hispanic workers coming over that border, and if they have the right to vote suddenly without having to be legal, they're going to vote for all the goodies they can get free from the government, and they're going to be loyal to where that check is coming from, to where that money's coming from. So they're going to be replaced with the black vote, Eddie.
See, but see, Gabriel, I mean, we're having this conversation, but there's some things that black folks know and that white folks know, is that Hispanics have different political persuasion, because most of the ones from Cuba are Republican.
Very conservative.
And then you have some that come from Mexico who are probably Democratic. But then you got, you know, South and Central America, and you got Puerto Rico, you know, and all. And
it's not monolithic, you're saying. They're all different types.
Yeah, back when I worked in the hospital, I had a Spanish guy kind of try to explain it to me, how you guys are different. And see, black folks, no matter where you come from, no matter how you look, you're still black, and we expect you to be a Democrat. Because I get so many pieces of letters and legislations and communication that was meant for the traditional American black person. I'm not that. I'm a Republican. And the fact of the matter, they have lived and fared very well.
Oh yeah.
Treating all blacks the same. And if they was looking out for their best interest and your best interest, this Voting Rights Act is something that they'd have changed and fixed that thing a long time ago. It's
there's no incentive going on right now for them to change it, Eddie.
It's serving them well. And the fact that black folks stand for this,
still.
And the fact that Joe Biden was going to fix several of these things. Now, I don't want to try to tell Democrats how to keep office, but I guarantee you, it's enough people out there raising hell. And I mean, Joe Biden won't be the first president to not keep his word and lie and campaign and tell people what they want to hear. But they didn't have somebody like Donald Trump just standing on the sideline. See, because Trump going to do something that a lot of the other presidents on the other side didn't do. He going to say, Joe Biden promised black folks this, and this. Y'all voted for him 70, 80, 90%, and he ain't did doodly squat for you. The black president we had didn't do doodly squat for us. And this is the simplest thing to do when you got the House, when you got the Senate, and when you got the presidency all in the same party, to actually do something for the people who put you there.
So payback.
And I know they know black folks saved Joe Biden campaign when he was in South Carolina or North Carolina, whichever one of them Carolinas, where the black guy literally saved him in the primaries. Hell, he wouldn't even made it past the primary. He'd have got cooked in the primary. And now he's president.
He's forgotten.
But he ain't forgotten. See, I can't put all of this on Joe Biden. There's Democrats in the House and Democrats in the Senate where if they wanted to pass the Civil Rights Voting Act, they don't need one Republican. They don't need one Republican in the House. They don't need one Republican in the Senate. Because all we heard last year was we got the majority. We got 51. We got 50 plus Kamala Harris ain't got no choice. She vote with the Democrats. They win every bill that comes through the Senate.
Now, Eddie, going beyond what you just said, there's also Obama's team is running the Biden administration. This is nothing new. These are all Obama people that are running that administration. So for things not to change, there's no reason why. They have their own agenda. It has nothing to do with the black people, the Hispanic people. It's their own socialist agenda they want to run. And like you said, they can make things happen if they choose. All they got to do is send their puppet out there to just do a little song and dance. Well, half of that. And they'll cover it. But you're right, they have the power to make it happen. It's just not top of their list, Eddie.
Well, Gabriel, and I'm going to say something, and I've said this many times on this show. And it goes back to old folks saying. When I was a kid, my mom, a lot of old folks used to have things and say things about girls, about women. They said,
This is Mama.
This is Mama talking.
Okay.
If you can get the milk for free.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Why buy the cow?
Eddie.
I'm just saying, if you could get these folks to keep voting for you 90%, why in the hell would you do anything for it? Don't take no skin off your back. It don't take you no money, no effort whatsoever. They could put this thing into action, and in February, by Black History Month this month, it could have been passed. It could have had black vote for in perpetuity.
Eddie, I saw that on display at the MLK parade with the Democrats that were up the front of the parade as they were going through some of the worst school areas, and they were like kings on thrones, and people were happy to have them there, and they were saying, this is my kingdom. As a Democrat,
right.
I have done nothing to change your bad conditions with your schools, with your areas, and I have no intention on changing anything because I have the power. You are silly enough, and I'm being kind, to keep me in power because these Democrat policies have failed continuously for decades and are going to continue because I get your vote.
No, you.
Me? Okay. Yeah, I gotta switch mics here.
So and that's just the frustrating part of all of this. Going here are these Democrats in power.
Technical difficulty.
You can hear it. It just sounds good.
Okay. All right.
In power on display in their kingdoms. I have your power and your vote. I keep making big money here, and I'm not going to change your crappy schools or anything else that your community needs because I don't have to.
Okay, we got a caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio. Thank you for holding through that diatribe. It was important that we got it out because we know sometimes you guys get on and you want to do your diatribe. So welcome to Porch Talk Radio this fine Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what say you? Hello.
Thank you. I am in St. Petersburg right now. I am from Tampa. And thank you for your show. I was listening also to the previous show, to Sean Shaw's show. And I heard Connie call towards the end of the show. And I usually appreciate very much what he said. But today I thought that there was something that I didn't feel particularly well about. She was speaking about how change needed to happen from the black community itself. And then she said, Joe Biden has to do this and Joe Biden has to do that. And it seems to me that even though normally I agree with her and I agree with Ben more than I agree with you, Mr. Adams, I don't see Joe Biden doing anything for the black community or anyone that is not the corporate structure. So I thought it was interesting. But I want to ask you,
Hello? We kind of lost you. Could you say that again? Oh, man.
Yep, I think he's gone. Move on.
We lost him. Sorry about that. Call back because I wanted to hear what you said so I could answer your question. So, anyway.
But I think he was right on the corporate part, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, see, community, black community. We say black and we say white here because people
Hispanic,
won't
Mexican,
be confused as to who we talking to. This community, all over the nation, I want you to tell me one thing that he talked about all over the campaign trail, because I truly believe that it's a bunch of black folks who thought he was going to be the next great thing. He going to be the best thing since sliced bread.
That's an old one.
Since sliced white bread.
Oh, you had to go there.
And it hasn't happened. Black folks, I'm going to tell you, you was expecting a lot from Obama.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought you was expecting a lot from Joe Biden. But it's been a year, and I'm still waiting to see anything that he has. See, the nature of a president, every now and then they have to push stuff through Congress.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's sometimes hard to get folks on your side to agree with you or disagree with you. That's why you're supposed to have political clout, so you can make a couple of phone calls, invite a couple of those guys down to Camp David.
None of that.
And whatever the issue is, you need to get them on your side for. You can do it, but even you have to promise something. See, that's it right there. See, they ain't gonna promise doodly squat to white folks to do something for black folks. That's history. I haven't seen any, when they go in there and start negotiating, we're going to do this for you, and we're going to give you that, and we're going to give you that, just do this for these people here. Let's get this simple Voting Rights Act changed. Let's make it permanent. Let's do that. Okay, next election cycle, what will you give me? Negotiate. See, that's what they do. See, they sit back and negotiate, and they go tit for tat, and everybody come out their meeting slapping five and bumping fists and smiling. They won't do that for you. See, that should tell you something right down there. That tells you right there something. They got the House, they got the Senate, they got the presidency, and the president has said nationally, I'm going to do this for you. Now, he don't do this. That makes him a big-ass liar. That makes him a big liar. And he knows it, and you know it. But see, I have black folks try to tell me that he's trying.
Trying to do what? He's had 50 years.
He only got 2 votes. He needs 2 votes. He needs 2 votes to pass the Voting Rights Act in the Senate. Hell, they got 20 and 30, 40 more votes than they need in the House. It's not even close in the House. In the Senate, he needs 2. He got 2 Democrats who basically stood up and say, we ain't giving you Smith.
Yeah. So Eddie,
we ain't giving you Smith. So now prove that you can do what you made all them promises. I don't know why they mad at him. They mad at Joe Biden. They ain't mad at black folks. It just happened, like has happened many times in history. We collateral damage. We standing on the side of the street, somebody come by, do a drive-by, miss all the people in the street, standing in the street, and shoot you 5 times. That ain't no accident.
And Eddie, that is true to form, unfortunately. If we looked at all the shootings that happened in a lot of these Democrat-run owned towns for decades now, Baltimore, Chicago, we're talking black on black is in the 90 percentile up higher, happening, shootings, killings, children being killed, and that doesn't make the news, Eddie. It's just no big deal. They don't care about it, and there's nothing that Mr. Biden has any intention. He's got 50 years as a politician. Kamala Harris doesn't have that long, but she's got quite a few years. Neither one of these two added up together with all their years to show they have ever done anything for minorities, period. And yet they were supposedly elected in the high numbers by minorities because they have no history of doing anything to help minorities. Eddie, what's the word of lunacy? How does that define? I think that's it.
Well, Joe Biden's been in politics. Matter of fact, most of the people I know who know Joe Biden can't remember the last time he had a job that wasn't political.
Oh.
So he's been in politics his whole life.
That's all he knows.
And he can't change the mind of 2 people in his own party to help affect the lives, because it will affect the lives of all the black folks in this country. Over 36 million black folks. 2 to 36 million. What kind of odds? The matter of fact, the lottery gives you better odds than that.
Eddie, they had Robert Reich, who was one of the Clinton politicians, Democrats, that was in his administration, just recently, actually as the 2 Democrats voted against this Build Back Better baloney, that the Robert Reich, the Clinton politician, Democrat, said, you know, if all the Republicans were in line to shake this woman's hand, the Democrat female's hand, when all the Democrats should have been in line to give that woman the backhand. And I'm thinking, oh, so this is how political Democrats teach their political women. Just right out. And then it wasn't like it was, just some yahoo. This is an administration official from the Clinton era a Democrat saying this is how the Democrat women should be treated with a backhand. I'm like, wow, no loyalty. I think Biden's losing all the loyalty he could possibly lose, Eddie.
Well,
quickly.
Well, I'm tell you the nature of politics.
Quickly.
Biden is not, and I said that, when he first got elected, he's a weak president.
You're being kind, Eddie.
If you're a weak president, proof of that is you need 2 votes to get your major legislation through Congress without any Republican support, no Republican support, and you can't get 2. So 48 is for you, 2 is against you, and you don't have the power to take them to the damn woodshed. You know what I mean? Go to the woodshed and do whatever kindness you need to do to them to get them to agree with you.
Eddie, Joe Manchin was one of the Democrats, and he's always been able to be bought off.
Well, he could be bought off by everybody but Joe Biden. That's what I'm trying to tell you. When you are weak, it's hard to fake power.
I think Russia can testify to that.
Because the nature of power is power don't concede. It don't give in to a lesser power. Power is taken.
Mm-hmm.
Power is exerted. Power is wielded. And I'm trying to tell you people, and I'm saying you people.
Mm-hmm, I heard it.
I'm black as y'all. And I can see it. See, because when you put blinders on and it's in your heart to rationalize whatever the master does is in your benefit. It's in your benefit. It's in your favor. He beat the hell out of Bojo last week because it's Bojo's fault. It's Bobo's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's Bubba's fault.
But it's for the good of the rest of them, Eddie.
And not only did he whoop the hell out of him, he made sure everybody saw it.
Mm-hmm. Big display.
You see what I'm saying? So if you people take the blinders off for a minute and look at the real world, it's on display. And every couple of weeks when I start talking about stuff that's out there, I never fake the funk. I give you real world examples that everybody can see, and you choose not to see it. See, that's a choice. Now that's your choice. You choose not to see the faults or the bad stuff or the stuff that somebody come up to you and say, well, if you do this for me, I will do that for you.
Even though I've never done it before.
I don't even have to be truthful. I can lie to you. I can think of all the good stuff you want, and I can tell you to your face, and then I know you're gonna believe it, even though you know I am lying. You know I'm lying, but you take it. See, the only way you get change don't happen gradually. And it don't happen just because you want it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do something that make the person in power know that you mean business.
Mm-hmm.
See, we got to mean business. We got, as a nation, black folk, we got to mean business when we deal. Because you don't worry about it with Republicans. Because you vote exclusively.
Mm-hmm.
I could run down the street in the urban community and talk to 10 people. 8 of them will be Democrats. And I'm talking about just randomly talk to 10 black folks.
Well, here in Hillsborough County, too. 8
of them is going to randomly, just pick some people out riding down the street in my car. Mm-hmm. You be like, 8 of the 10 going to be Democrats. And half of them don't know why. See, because I have people ask me, why are you a Republican? Well, hell, why are you a Democrat?
But one doesn't understand economics. Yet.
They don't understand. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this fine Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what say you? Hello.
Hey Eddie, this is Al.
Hey Al.
So hey man, you know I call and I give it to you when I think you're wrong. But I'm gonna tell you something, Eddie. On the premise of what you're saying about Biden's ability to use power and understand how to use power, I have to agree with you. I agree with you. I don't think he understands how to use power. I think he's been part of a collegial legislative body where you have to compromise, and he understands compromise, and that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, again, you've seen time after time when they will compromise when it comes to the things for black people, just like asking black people to say, hey, well, this ain't the right time. Okay, so I see this as almost in the same identical vein. They'll never burn the house down to do it for black folks. And so I agree with you from that standpoint. So I just want to call and comment and make that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Al.
And the nature of this show is to bring to black folks a view or an image they refuse to see on their own. Sometimes people have to point things out to you because normally you would say, okay, this is status quo. Oh, this is how they always do stuff. No, it is not. And how we as people get change, the whole thing that Martin Luther King was about, and I heard Al or Sean show say that when Martin Luther King was assassinated, he was hated by an awful lot of people in this country.
No.
You know, see, that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand.
That's not true.
Once you start stirring the pot, making changes, he was a peaceful man.
Mm-hmm.
He meant good.
Yes,
he had great intentions. But it's a lot of folks, because he said that he was against the Vietnam War,
mm-hmm.
because he said that this country was not doing right by black folks, because he said some things that
he was being honest. That's true.
That ruffled some feathers.
Yeah.
He was assassinated, and I say this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
People went to see Muhammad Ali fight. Half of them went to see him win,
mm-hmm.
and the other half went to see him lose.
Absolutely.
And this is not that conversation, but I'm telling you, midterms are coming.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of voters are going to be voting for governors and senators and house members and this and that and all that kind of other stuff. And don't take my word for it. Go out there and do what you always do. Go out there and vote 90%.
But they don't know any different, Eddie.
Go out there and vote 90%.
It's like a knee-jerk response. They get that voting thing in front of them. D. They don't even think about it.
I know they don't, but that's why I'm pointing it out to them. Try something different. I ain't got no reason to vote for the Republican. No, you ain't got no reason. But you ain't got no reason to keep doing what you've been doing because that is stupid.
Boom. Now, folks, with all this said, as you have probably been getting some new neighbors in your area, seeing some new faces, the move-in rate to Florida has been extremely high. Even Democrats that want everybody to wear a mask are coming down here buying properties and partying their butts off here in Florida. They're getting busted too, caught along the way. Nancy Pelosi, she's bought a big old multi-million-dollar mansion down here in Florida. She don't believe in that mask baloney, but that's all right. But as you see new neighbors, new people that are from New York, up north somewhere, please tell them to not New York, Florida up, because we like the way Florida is. You can be free, you can speak your mind, you can wear a mask if you want to, you can wear 20 of them if you want. It doesn't really matter. But please, be kind to all our new people that are moving into the state, and just remind them, please don't vote like you did where you came from. Just a public service announcement there. Thank you.
All right. On this day, January the 22nd, 1930, the New York excavation began for the Empire State Building. I know you guys remember that.
That's a while back.
On this day, January 22nd, 1951, Fidel Castro was ejected from a Winter League baseball game after hitting a batter with the ball. So he was pitching.
Mm-hmm.
He later gave up baseball and went into politics. So winter baseball, why we got Fidel Castro and why he pretty much stole Cuba from the people. On this day, January 22nd, 1961, Wilma Rudolph set a world indoor record for women's 60-yard dash. She ran the race in 6.9 seconds.
That's pretty quick.
On this day, January 22nd, 1973, Joe Louis lost his first professional heavyweight fight in his career. He was beaten by George Foreman. He had an undefeated heavyweight world championship race since February the 16th, 1970, when he knocked out Jimmy Ellis. Gabriel.
All right, we're going to do a little Star Wars trek right here, guys. Back in 2016, with Trump winning, we call that New Hope. 2020, when Biden won, we call that The Empire Strikes Back. In 2024, we're going to call it Return of the Jedi. We're going to see how that goes. So my son Luke loves how I named my kids after Star Wars characters. My daughter Chewbacca is not so much, but the rest of the kids, they're fine with it. So as we go on, looking here, the study conducted by the BMJ recorded two significant findings in the relationship between body fat and mortality. Body fat on the belly increases your chance of dying at an early age of any cause. All right? But number two, body fat on the hips and thighs actually lowers your chances of early death. What's that old saying? That's right.
I'll keep it clean, keep it clean.
Yeah, okay, saves lives. Anyway, moving on. The federal judge blocks Biden's federal mandate for federal employees. So federal employees do not have to be vaccinated. They cannot be fired for it. That has also been canceled across our nation through the Supreme Court. So King Dingaling Biden cannot just sign stuff on a memo and say, I want this, and he gets it automatically. We have an actual legal system here. Of course, just recently I had a fruit smoothie today, and I went for a beautiful hike. Translation? All right, I got drunk off wine and I rolled down the stairs. But that's close. So folks, as y'all continue going forward, Ohio is soon to become the new Silicon Valley of the planet. Silicon Heartland is going to build the world's largest chip factory in existence. Is going to happen in Ohio. So California is losing ground quickly. The IRS reminds thieves, drug dealers, to report their illegal income when they got time. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Gabriel. And, you know, this is not the end of the show. It's toward the end of the show. And what I've told callers in the past, you know, if you wait to the end of the show, it's an hour show. If you got something on your heart or got something on your mind, call earlier, because the chances of you getting on the air it is a lot easier, a lot more certain if you call early in the show. I ain't trying to mess up my show. I'm just saying, you know, because I have people that call toward the end of the show and then they don't get on the air. So if your intention is to get on the air, then you need to call, you know, toward the beginning of the show. So my last thoughts for...
I think our watch is at the same time.
Yeah, my watch is off. I know it is.
My battery's dead, I think.
Yeah, your battery's dead. So that's why I use my
okay.
phone. That's why I have my phone here to tell time with. So,
but we look good.
Yeah. It's only jewelry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, people, my people. considering all of the stuff that they are trying to protect you from, is Democrats for the last 200 years have been trying to protect you from stuff
Success.
that other Democrats inflicted upon you. The Civil War, the Ku Klux Klan,
Taking down statues of
You know,
Democrats.
The welfare system. I'm good intentions,
But
but the results were the morality of black folks in this country have dipped
codependency also, Eddie.
further than it has ever been. Even back in the 60s, 67% of all black households had a mother
Mm-hmm.
and a father who was married in the household. That number today is 35. So over the last 50 or 60 years, it's not important anymore to have a nuclear family of a father married to the mother and the kids.
Eddie.
When everybody know the possibilities of success for the children is much greater when there's a mother and a father in the home raising them.
And Eddie, you know, with the genocide of minorities, specifically the black people, happening to where New York is proud to say that a black baby, chance of it being aborted is much higher than actually being born. And Democrats just calling that a badge of honor. The genocide continues, Eddie, and you and I know how many abortion centers are over in Westchase. That's right.
0.
Yeah, but you go to northeast part of town, they're out there. So, folks, this is going on before your very eyes, and I still don't give the churches a pass for giving up and just totally saying, well, you know, that's just the way life is. That's the wrong kind of life, and it's good for nobody. And I know that we have a lot of really, really good people, whether they're black, Hispanic, out there working day to day, doing the best they can. But when the policies are set in place, you got to fight that every day. And for those who keep voting to keep the same old status quo, we keep saying status quo around here, nothing changing, same politicians in power, then nothing changes, Eddie.
Well, okay, this is the point I want to say. Common sense
Took a hike.
used to be common. They had very, very smart people who may not have had book learning.
But
It's a lot of book learned people who are dumb as hell. And I mean it just like that.
and they're in politics.
They're dumb. And not all of them in politics.
There's a lot of them in there.
Some of them are walking around affecting everybody's life.
That's true.
You know, and people give them extra credit because they college educated. But they don't make common sense. They make simple errors that I could go pull a homeless black guy off the street and he would know better without his college education because he's on the street. The world is teaching him. And I'm going to tell you something. Every now and then, the world gets it right and the college educated fool gets it wrong. And that's something. If you've been around a lot of old folks, which when I was young, I thought that was cool as hell to be around worldly old people because their world was so much different than ours. And our world is so much different than our kids. That's the nature of things happening. And there's two ways to get knowledge. There's studying it, and there's living it. And something good about talking to people who are telling you and translating to you their life experiences. And their life experiences are going to be new to you because, you know, kids nowadays are born and raised with computers, and all my technical help in my family comes from my daughter and my granddaughter. Because a lot of stuff, and I work with computers every day. But I wasn't born and raised with them. I had to learn them. You got a whole generation of young black folks who is secondary. I mean, they literally come out the womb, and when they get old enough to touch a phone, touch a keyboard, touch any of this technical stuff, you know, they adapt to it. They adapt. In first and second grade, they're doing tests on computers.
Eddie, I remember the first
Not
time.
just calculators, computers.
I remember the first time my iPad went down and I couldn't get my IT expert on it. He was already in bed. He was 5 years old. But he would know how to fix it right away. I just had to throw it aside and wait till I catch him later.
Well, folks, great talking to you today. Glad we could have the conversation about voting rights. The Bucks are going to beat the Rams tomorrow.
Woo!
So I had to get that off my chest
Go Bucks!
before the show goes off.
35-45 score.
Until we do this again, same bat time, same bat place.
God bless America.
Same blessed station. We love you. Bye-bye.
Serving Tampa Bay since 1954. The Heritage Station. WTMP, Egypt Lake, Tampa, Clearwater.